Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be learning about circles, and specifically, we'll be learning about how to calculate the area of circles. So let's get started. Now let's recall that the area is the amount of space that's inside of a shape. And when we were younger, we learned how to find the area by counting up all the number of squares that we had inside of our shape. So if we did that, we would look at this picture and I would see 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, etc. But then notice what happens when we get to these parts of the circle where it doesn't completely fill a whole square. Now, how do we count those ones? So we're going to use this demo to help us understand how to find the area of a circle. So when this moves, we can see now that the circumference is straightened out. So the circumference of the circle is now lying flat. And we know that the circumference of a circle is 2 times pi times r. Now we can dissect this circle and dissect it, splitting it up into different parts. So now if I have this split up into 6 parts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unfold the circle so that it's lying across our circumference. And then I'm going to fold this in half so that the blue part is on top of the red part. And we see this shape. Now, let's say instead of 6 parts, let's increase the number of parts that our circle has. So if I increase this, and I'm still increasing, notice that the shape is changing a little bit. And what is this now starting to look more like? So it looks like a rectangle. And we know how to find the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is base times height. So we can apply what we know about the area of a rectangle and use it to help us find the area of a circle. So we know that the area of a circle is also base times height. But we have to figure out what is the height in our case and what is the base in our case. Well, the height of this rectangle that we're looking at is r. And the base, well, notice that this long line here is supposed to be the circumference, but it's only taking up half of that. So if the circumference is 2 pi r, we need to divide it by 2. So when we do that, we see here that the 2's are going to cancel and we're left with pi r. So that tells us that this base is pi times r. So now in our formula, instead of base times height, we have pi times r times r. Now notice we have r times r, and we know we can simplify this, right? So it now actually is pi and then r squared. So we just derived or figured out what the formula is of a circle. So we just came up with what the formula is for the area of a circle. So now we're going to apply that formula to actually find the area of this circle here. So if we take a look at this first one in our example, we have a circle and we have this measurement of 7. So again, we still have to identify what does the 7 represent. Does it represent the radius or does it represent the diameter? So great, it's the radius. So we're gonna now find the area of our circle. So we're gonna write our formula, which is the area is equal to pi times r squared. So now we'll substitute our values in. So we now get pi, in parentheses I'll put 7, and squared. So remember we have to do order of operations first, so that means we have to do the exponent part first. So we have to do 7 squared, and 7 squared is 49. So now we have 49 pi. And we can now use our calculator to figure out what 49 pi is. And the question's saying to round to 1 decimal place. So when we put 49 pi into the calculator, we get 153.93804. And rounding to 1 decimal place then, we get 153.9. And we have to use units, so it's going to be centimeters. And because this is area, we have to say centimeters squared. So this brings us to our first try question for this video. We want to find the area of a circle that has a radius of 6 feet. So taking a look at this circle, we have a measurement here of 26. So the first question we have to ask ourselves, is this the radius or is this the diameter? And that's right, it's the diameter. So if we go ahead and we write our formula for an area of a circle, we have area is equal to pi r squared. Now, our formula uses the radius, so that means we need to know what the radius is. Now remember, the relationship between the radius and the diameter is that the radius is half of the diameter. So we have 1/2 times 26, or 1/2 times 26 is the same thing as saying 26 divided by 2, which gives us 13. So our radius for this circle is 13. So we can now substitute this into our formula. We get pi times 13 and squared. And 13 squared is going to be 169 pi. And then we can put this into our calculator and we get 530.9291585. But this question's asking us to round to 2 decimal places. So we can round this and we get 530.93 inches and squared. And so this brings us to our second try question for this video. We want to find the area of a circle that has a diameter of 28 meters. So take a moment to pause the video and try this question out. So here in our second example, we want to find the area of a semicircle. Now remember, a semicircle is 1/2 of a circle. So what we can do is we have the semicircle, we can imagine we had the whole circle. So that would help us determine, what does this 30 feet represent? Does it represent the radius or the diameter? That's right, it's the diameter. So we have our formula for area, which is A is equal to pi r squared. And then again, our formula needs the radius. So we have to figure out what the radius is of this whole entire circle. And it's going to be half of that. So half of 30 is 15. So we can substitute our value, pi and then 15 in parentheses squared, which gives us 225 pi. Now again, this area that we just calculated is for the whole entire circle. We don't have the whole entire circle, we have half. So what we want to do then is take our area that we got and we have to divide that by 2. So if our area of our circle was 225 pi, and I'm leaving it this way because it's the most exact answer we can get, and if we divide this by 2, then this gives us 112.5 pi. So that means that the area of our semicircle is going to be 112.5 pi to be most exact. And then if we throw this into our calculator, we get 353.4291735. And when we round, because this question is asking us to round to the nearest tenth, that means we want 1 decimal place, we're going to get 353.4 feet, and that's squared. So let's take a moment to pause the video to try this last question out. We're going to find the area of this semicircle, and we want to round to the nearest tenth. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that like button. See you next time.